Hey guys, JB here from Alpha Wolf Consulting, talking to you today about the unconditional mindset and an important aspect of creating and fostering an unconditional mindset within yourself. And this is making space or creating space for your unconditional mindset to grow and for you to release your condition-based mindset or transaction-based mindset. So it's very important within ourselves to create space to let go to what was the past, to let go to everything that has held you back from becoming unconditional within yourself. And it's very important when we think about this in terms of progression and moving forward and embodying the aspect of self that I want to be and the aspects of my ideal life and what I want in life, I also must create space within myself, the space of stillness, the space of silence, a space of reflection where I can see what was drift away from me. Do you sort of get it? Very important to understand this, because it's only through creating space that I can consume and understand what is new, what is meant for me. And through creating space, I give myself the ability to let go. So we're not trying to force and reject the old way of being, but we're sort of just allowing it to transmute, transcend, transfer into the new way of being. But the new way of being only comes from the stillness within. Do you get it? So it's very important when we're trying to build this idea or this conceptualization of the unconditional mindset in terms of unconditionally loving ourselves, unconditionally valuing who we are, creating unconditional worth within ourselves, unconditional respect, unconditional confidence, whatever it is for you that you're creating, however you want it to be. So think about it like this. We are not trying to reprogram a computer and delete the old files and just replace them with new files. We are an organism, a living, breathing organism. And to understand what an organism is simply is just to understand that an organism is understanding the living nature of all aspects of the individual or all aspects of myself. So when we think about organism, we're just thinking about multiple different aspects of life that work and live together in union or unity to create an individual or to create a life form. Do you sort of get it? So for example, I may psychologically rewrite my internal narrative and dialogue to being and believing in unconditional love for self, unconditional worth within self, unconditional respect, confidence, belief in self. But I might be holding on tightly to the old energetic patterns or frequencies and creating disalignment within myself. And this is why giving yourself space to let go is important. Allowing yourself to just ease into what you want. Not worried about how it should be, how it has to be, that I have to have it for it to continue to grow. And it's very important Because the more we learn to ease into it, the more we learn to embrace the stillness, to create the space for what was to be let go and what is to be picked up. Do you sort of get it? The more we create this space, the more we create the ability to align to the energetic frequencies that we are trying to create within ourselves, or to create through our actions. But then there's also our spiritual belief, the spiritual aspect of self, that when I am creating the space to let go to the conditional mindset, that there are conditions on my love, that there are conditions on my self-confidence, my self-belief, my self-respect, like anything that you want. We are creating the ability now and the space to sort of explore the spiritual aspect of self, the spiritual aspect of growth, the spiritual aspect of my energetic state or my frequency. Do you sort of get it? So when we are thinking about ourselves over being an individual to a living organism of a multitude of different living beings that cohesively create a singular conscious life form, we are looking at it not as a machine, a biomechanical machine, that my body is a biomechanical machine. But now I am looking at it that my body is a living life force, a living ecosystem of life. Do you sort of get it? So how I interact and treat my body psychologically, how I view my body psychologically, will affect my spirit, the spiritual aspects of my body, will affect the energetic or frequency of my body. And it's very important to understand this, because when we're getting into this, we're now getting into the holistic approach to well-being, or living well, or being well within self. But we're also getting into understanding the complexity of my connection within nature, within life, within self, to all the different aspects. So how I do one thing will reflect how I do everything. Should I see myself as a biomechanical machine where it's inputs and functions? You know, I eat healthy, I feel healthy. I'm thinking then I consume or digest healthy, you know, psychological theories, content, whatever. I then feel healthy psychologically. I feel stable. Doesn't work like that, because I'm creating compartmentalization. Do you sort of get it? So what I'm trying to do is create a holistic approach where I am accounting for and observing all aspects of life, or all aspects of my experience of life, to create and sort of like cultivate change within me. And it's very important, this, because when we're understanding the holistic approach, when I'm becoming mindful about the emotional states I have dependent on the content that I consume, I am now consuming content in an emotionally grounded and stable way, where I understand the influence of different content on it. When I am observing and mindful of my emotional state when eating, I am now understanding and consuming food emotionally stable. I'm not creating negative behavioural patterns or compulsion, unconscious compulsions of behaviour. I'm not transferring one negative habit for another. Do you sort of get it? It's very important, so we have to give ourselves space. So an easy way to understand this is I could be addicted to smoking, and then I go to quit smoking and I either pick up snacking or I pick up chewing gum. I'm not like letting go to the habit of smoking. I'm just replacing the habit of smoking with a new habit that I deem as being healthier. But the compulsive behavioural tendency has not been foundationally changed. So an easy way to see this is I could be letting go to negative condition-based beliefs around my self-love and picking up unconditional beliefs, but I'm still creating those behaviours and patterns in that habitual nature. I'm not transforming or transmuting that negative nature that I see of seeking for love external to me to now I'm seeking for love internal to me. Do you sort of get it? The behavioural pattern of me seeking love has not changed. And it's not to say that there's anything wrong with seeking love internally. It's where you should, but it's this idea that I'm not addressing the root cause because I'm not giving myself time and space to process, digest, and to move forward in a new way. So it's very important that when we're creating this change within ourselves, when we're picking up the unconditional mind and the unconditional mindset, it's not about just replacing that I feel a low sense of self-worth. So now I create internal worth patterns and I build my self-worth from that same behavioural pattern that I had when I had low self-worth. Do you sort of get it? Because the way that is that I'm with low self-worth, I'm seeking for someone to give it to me. Now, if I am then replacing the external aspect of my self-worth, so I'm not seeking it externally, but I'm seeking it internally, I'm still dependent on me giving it. Do you sort of get it? It's not a sort of aspect of self that my worth is just a part of my human nature. So it's very important for us to understand this, because the key is to allow ourselves time for that to just fade away. Do you sort of get it? Like, instead of me keeping on adding wood to the fire of my unconscious behavioural patterns and my compulsive nature, I'm allowing the fire to die down and fully go out. And then I am now building a new fire based on what I want to fuel within my life, not what I need to fuel. Do you sort of get it? So moving from the conditional mindset to the unconditional mindset is changing the fuel from being unsustainable, the external environment, to becoming sustainable, the internal environment. But I don't want to be propagating the old way in which I created the fire, the way I structured the fire. So I allow the fire to die down, and then I basically rebuild the fire in a new way, in a way that makes sense for me, in a way I want to create it. So maybe it's with self-love, and I want to feel self-love all the time. So I can consistently give myself self-love and have to fuel myself and seek for self-love within myself. Or self-love can just be a part of me, an inherent part of my genetic makeup, of my psychological construct, of my energetic state or my frequency. So just realize this, that giving yourself space to let go and create anew is the power to transform and transmute any aspect of self. And that's the true power that everyone seeks in life. Have a good day.